having a good time, sharing good energy in good places with good people, doing good things. All right. The title on this one is They Would Never. So maybe there's energies out here saying, I would never let somebody use me like that. And I would never this and this and this and this. And I would never find myself. They better be careful what they say. Okay. Because what I know is that by human law and experience, when you're in your dark night of soul, which is what a lot of these people are, you may think that you would never, but you end up having to. And what you end up having to do is fully dependent upon you. So, what's going on? Why is there a black screen? There we go. What is up with that? Why was my screen was on the wrong way? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Looks like we're good now. Okay. So it's this energy of people spouting out where about you. I would never. It's really that they could never. They could never accomplish what you would do. They could never stand in your walk in your shoes. All of those things. They would fail to stand in your place. That's why there is no competition. So what else is happening with these people? Yeah, it's no surprise to you that you're being able to treat yourself to whatever you want. Like it's no surprise to you. You know, it may be a surprise to them. But again, there's this whole understanding that the perceived reality, what people would do in your shoes. Well, I could never, I would never. Yes, that's why you were not called. That's why you are not. You know, it's no surprise to the collective, you know. And it's no surprise to the collective that these people weren't who they are. You know what I mean? That's why you continue to be a good person, you know, to do the right thing because you knew that they couldn't. And there's this false reality or false narrative that people want to put out that, oh, this person is hurting too. This person, you know, is healing from whatever was done. No, this person already healed. As soon as people became absent in their lives, that's what they do. So it's like, even if you met the collective yesterday, if you fail to stand in the position that you're given, whether it be friend, whether it be neighbor, whether it be whatever, whatever, whatever. Maybe these people were imagining that you weren't drama free. Like maybe they felt like you had so much going on in your life, you know, during whatever, I don't know, whatever time they weren't around, that you weren't able to eliminate drama. And it's also giving this energy is like they couldn't imagine the things that you've created. They couldn't imagine them themselves. That's why they could never see you do it. That's why their focus has been on, well, what are they over there doing? They're getting closer to doing what I could never do. It's really the energy. There and say something to the collective. Should I wait for their that energy, like call right back? Like you can't, they show their true, energy. They show their uh that is a codependency, call and call right back. No, let the person see that you call. Give them a minute to do whatever they're doing. It's also that energy that the collective exudes is like, yeah, the only messages I'm able to obtain is that if you don't, like me, I don't care. That has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, these people are just stuck repeating the same thing, right? The cycle, repeating the same attempts. And it's really like it's like hard to look at, you know what I mean? It's almost kind of like, when you see somebody running straight into something and they're just constantly doing it, it's like, are you okay? I think that's like the wellness check is on them right now. Like they need a wellness check. Like, why would you bring a third party into your relationship? And why would you be focused on doing this and that and the other? And, why would you be focused anywhere but on yourself? Maybe that's, yeah, like that's the part they don't get. They think that self-love is like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they know what self-love is. I think they feel like self-love may be things, the appreciation of others, but it's really how much you value yourself. It's really how, look, they got all the evidence that you're drama free and that whatever you've created, this treat yourself energy, whatever you created in there is something that they can't even imagine. So that's why they also can't thwart it, because they couldn't even imagine as big as you. Again, they would never, correct. You would never dream this big. You would never have these aspirations. You would never, oh, that's the other thing. I was looking at all these old homes that are for sale and things like that, and really big mansions. And I came across the Vanderbilt one, and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And they shared a lot of the history on how they, came to obtain certain things. And then there was this other house that they were selling, and they were, exclaiming about all the travels and all the spirituality attached to the things and that decorated the house and this and that and the other. And it was just kind of like, wow, like it's almost like that's the level of imagination that you're on. These people could never create. These people could never imagine themselves being able to travel the world to do something or for fun. You know what I mean? They're so stifled in the way that they look at and believe things about other people. They're not focused on themselves. Again, it's like their focus is on you. So, and they don't know, what you're doing. They have no idea. Yeah, there's all this evidence that you're actually blessed, right? And that's making them feel like, oh, well, maybe we can make them care about us. Maybe we can, get some of their energy. And, it's like, stop repeating that cycle. They need to stop. That's also what was in the reading too, the reading notes. It's kind of like they need to stop. They need to stop trying to get you to care because you don't. They need to stop trying to put forth this illusion that it matters to you, because it doesn't. Like nothing that they say or that they do, et cetera, it's like you've already learned how to, close up, save, conserve, not be a part of this, right? You already know how to save yourself from being, overextended, right? Drunk or whatever, you have that discipline already. I don't know. This is really weird. It's kind of like these people don't even see their own behavior. They don't even see their own behaviors. They said this is not the deck. They're expecting you to be in some kind of lonely energy, but you're not. It's like you have a strategy for life, and that brings about a lot of people. Other people see your energy as exactly as it is, right? They try to present you as some kind of nightmare, but again, knowing like, okay, standing steadfast in who you are. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, why would I bow down to pretend that I'm something that I'm not, just to try to be on your level? Why would I want to be on your level? It's not attractive to me. That's something they're blind to, that like the level that they're on is not a level that you want to stoop to. It's beneath you. Their ceiling is your floor. So they hear you stomping around. That may be even what somebody has said about you. Like, oh yeah, I saw him stomping around town. You ain't seen nobody stomping around town. You just mad because this person is up and walking and living, and you thought you had something to do with that. That's the really idea. Ooh. All right, what's coming out with this care energy? Maybe they expected you not to care about like having a family or somebody. It's older people. It's older people. It's an older person. Just the present moments count. This person needs to really be present in the moment that they're in and stop trying to do something to correct the past or do something to prevent the future. They need to be in their present moment. Like, go hug a tree. This person is really in need of healing. They're not connected to nature or the divine in any type of way. And I feel like that's what's, being presented to them. They're in the dark night of the soul. What else? What else comes out in that moment except for who you are, who you've been, what your true value is, and you have to work with the divine to change that. And it's almost like this person wants to rush the job, and it's like you're already spent all this time not doing the right thing. So at this point, it's kind of like you spent so much time not doing the right thing. Don't you realize you have a long road ahead of you because you're just now figuring this out? Because maybe this person is running across readings and saying, oh, don't worry, tomorrow, and it's about to happen, and blah, 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 blah. They're not realizing like, oh, that's because you're trying to be in someone else's energy. It's the energy of the collective. Yep. It's the energy of the collective. Yeah, this person is not okay. They don't want to admit that. They don't want to see it, whoever this older person is. They don't want to be in the present moment because the present moment presents the fact that they are not okay. So it's like at all costs, I'm not going to be the one to be brought down or to be some energy like that. I'm not going to be the one to look like it's like, again, no one even cares about that anymore. Like whatever this person is saying, maybe it's like because they see that this person is just repeating the same cycle. It's like you're trying to get this person to care about you, they don't. You're trying to get this person to feel like they need you to care about them, and they don't. You're trying to, drum up past memories and whatever, and it doesn't matter. Because what happens is if they send the energy of memorizing, like you remembering things or something like that, I'm always in a child. Look, if they try to bring up any childhood trauma or energy around you, what ends up happening is you remember whatever it is that they've presented, right, energetically, that they're trying to get you to hold on to. And you're cool about it because okay, like, oh, okay, this is just an extra part. This may not even be for me. This may be for someone else. Or what's happened, maybe happening with you, is when you go back to those moments, you know how to regenerate that energy. So look, it's this game over. You know how to understand, okay, what happened to me is not my fault. It's the person who did it's fault. You know what I mean? Whatever that may be. If somebody, I know I got kicked out of that gifted and talented because when they sent, I told you guys this story before, when they sent us, because we used to do flag and all kinds of stuff, right? And that's where I learned to love strawberry banana yogurt too, because I had it every damn day and I never wanted it. And so the girl that I hung out with from flag, she was like, just try it. She was like, just go for it. Just go for it. And I did. And I was like, oh, because I was always giving it to her and she was glad to take it. So giving that like respectful energy. But when I was in there, I don't know if everybody got to this part of that stuff with the gifted and talented program, but we were allowed to go and work with the children who had, the children who had special needs, the children who had Down syndrome. We were allowed to go work with them. And I think they wanted to understand who knew and who had the gifts and talents to be able to work with autistic, right? And all of these different chromosomal things that could take place, like who could guide these individuals. God was a part of that. The girl was hitting or pinching or something the person that she was working with, and the person would cry or whatever. And I went and told, I was getting ready to go tell, because I looked at her and she looked at me, she's like, you better not say anything. I was like, I'm going to tell. And she runs over to the teacher and tells before I can get over there. And so that's why I got kicked out, right? And I didn't care. I cared about this, of course. I cared about the abuse of power, the fact that this girl was sitting in there, abusing that opportunity to help others to only hurt others, right? To keep them in this like energy of physical limitations, right? Because the whole goal of us having us in there with them was to see how we could create environments that nurtured them. Okay. So as a result of me not being in there, later on they came back and invited me to STEM again. And it was one of my girlfriends that I was like always chatting with and stuff like that. And she was like, you really should be in this. And we were like 5th grade at this point. And she's like, you should really be in this. And I was like, okay, I'll try it again. Because I felt like I knew what it was, but I was like, I know I'm supposed to be over there, but I don't really care about that. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like if people can't see what they need to see, it's like I can't stand there and be a little kid fighting the fact that some other kid is lying. It becomes a big old political thing that I'm too small to handle, right? But essentially in that moment, they invited me back in. And it was cool for like the first day or two. But then by day 5, like by the end of that school week, I was like, I don't want to be in there anymore. It just felt too intrusive. I had learned how to like free think, and understand that I could do whatever I wanted to do outside of those classrooms. And so it did not matter to me because I could learn on my own what I needed to learn by being in the freaking universe with these other individuals, right? And it proved that to me later on in life because they had me train people at my job, retrain them actually, so that they could do well. So that's another reason that these people are being met with things is because it's like there's nothing that can really stop you. It's like, oh, okay, if you think you're taking me out of the arena that I need to be in to be able to be successful, you're completely confused because it doesn't depend on anybody but self. That's the only accountability factor. Ooh, and this came out too because I looked up Resplendent. Look, it says, don't be fooled by my appearance. My soul is resplendent. That's where I got that thumbnail. Like, actually, it all kind of came. I saw that card when I was doing my pre-shuffle, and then I I went and looked up the word resplendent, and then I don't know how I got to that picture, but it just came up. And if you look at the picture on the thumbnail, it's like someone's standing on a balcony and they're in front of an entire community. It's like they've got the whole entire world in front of them, so to speak. And that's their priority. That's their, like I said previously for my, who's your target audience? People. You alive? You need to learn and grow? You need to heal? Okay, that's where it is. The people that want to do the people that are on board with those type of tasks. But yeah, this person is standing on a balcony, like in front of a whole entire, everything. And so I guess I'm supposed to bring this up and explain like nature being someone's ally. So, and it's back to basics. It's like what you put into your body, that can be an abuse of your own power. So always watch, what you're doing, but don't worry about things because that becomes, an issue. The other day, a bee came up, like it was a huge bee. And I was just kind of like, whoa, I was caught off guard at first. And then a few minutes later, it comes back over, right? And it comes back over, but it has something in its hand, like it was trying to give me something. And then my son's like, oh, well, bees get disoriented by this or that and the other. And I was like, okay. So then I'm out there again. The bee comes up again. It's almost like you're going to start to see signs in nature too, collective, about the fact that like, even if you're on this road that may have seemed slow, but surely it's going to take place. That's so funny because the turtle keeps popping up. And I had a moment with my turtle today. It like actually was trying to get the blueberry that I was feeding it, and it snapped onto my finger. But before this happened, I literally was like, one day turtle's gonna snap onto my finger. And it happened. And turtle, fell in its shell, all of 5 inches, because I wasn't, startled by it because I already knew it happened. So you may start to feel like this energy too, like you're here, you're protected, you're separate, you're, held at a different esteem, a different stature, a different status, etc., etc. And you don't have any obligation to take advice from others. So you don't have any obligation, and you shouldn't be taking advice from others. You shouldn't be, especially other readings, because this person has like on a, it looks like they're supposed to be a tarot card reader or something like that. But it's like, yeah, already what you need to know. You don't have to worry about that. You're already in this energy of like getting out of your comfort zone, everything. That's the download too. It's like everything is already ended. Like that's maybe the stupidity of these people. It's kind of like they're thinking that you're where they are, but you've already passed that part of this understanding. That's what's like keeping them in their own loops. It's because they constantly want to assume that like, oh yeah, the collective is hurting too because I'm just now realizing how important the collective. Like, no, the collective always knew that they were important. They knew what they were doing was important. So they addressed their hurt when these people disappeared. It's like, oh yeah, when you disconnect, I don't care if they just met you last week. If you haven't talked to the collective and checked in and you know that you rubbed them the wrong way, or you know that you've been thinking negatively for them, it could even just be as small as like, oh yeah. Like I was explaining to my son the other day how his friends may send him negative energy and he may not even know it. Just based on it's like, okay, the ones that have to go to work every day, right? They may think about, oh yeah, if I was him, I'd be at home sleeping or da-da-da. Just free thinking for him, not really understanding how that's a projection of what they would be doing if they didn't have to do what it is that they're doing. And that's a lot of people's problems. Oh yeah, if I was Kim Kardashian, like you don't get to be Kim Kardashian though. I bring her up because so many people love to dislike her, or love to find fault in her. Like, oh, she became famous because, everybody got to see her booty hole. Okay. At the end of the day, how would you have handled that? I would never. Exactly. You wouldn't be able to turn it into any power. You wouldn't be able to, it's something that they can't imagine. They would never be able to turn it into something great. They don't exude that. They don't hold that. There's too much evidence showing them with their actual lives. They're still sitting around getting drunk on the weekends. Every weekend, that's their thing they do together. It's their trauma bonding session. You know how I know? Because I've been there. Never going back. Ain't gonna be stuck in the same cycle of this toxicity. And I'm not saying, oh, you can't drink. Yeah, but if you're drinking every night, every weekend, every such and such. It's like a constant. It's something that you can't remove yourself from. That's an addiction. Don't let it overtake you. I'm addicted to probably sweets and cooking a little bit. I love to cook. I love a lot of different things though, but they're not the things that other people pride or value. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, I guess. I don't know. I guess people want us to hold like some type of energy towards them not liking what we do or not being the same as us. And it's like, but no one is the same. There are no two same people. Even conjoined twins have separate everything as far as their mental capacity. Even if their brains are fused together, they still have independent thinking. They have independent taste buds. Unless you are actually that person. And that's what these people's problem is. They don't realize like the mania, the cycle, analysis on what they're suffering from hasn't been done because they refuse. They refuse to acknowledge that they're not okay. They refuse to acknowledge that. So, how are they ever supposed to heal? I don't know. I don't know, because a huge part of healing is accepting your own part, accepting where you are, right? And then being able to look back and say, oh, okay, the things from your childhood, what is it that you didn't have that you're maybe, falsifying a reality? Like, oh, okay, well, I have a husband. Is it a good husband though? Is it the husband you would have had if you had a good father? That's what people don't realize. Like, is it this? Like, they look at things and just, oh, because I'm married. Like, you're married to what now? And they told you to do who now? Get out of that. It's all of this like stinking thinking. That's all I can say. It's like stinking thinking. They could not think, I would never, exactly. You could never think of yourself accomplishing something after such a great, intended defeat. Like after somebody tried to triumph over you, they could never imagine themselves being able to create something bigger and better. They would have failed. They would have just laid down on the ground and completely ended everything. Like just not gonna do nothing. Not gonna be able to do. And that's the energy you're in now, is you're not going to be able to do anything for these people. You can't. It is their own process. I cannot heal you because you don't accept healing. Like they don't even know the first step. Oh yeah, yeah. These people. Hi. All right, let's see what else is in. Yeah, everything's, listen. So everything has changes because you've always been taking care of yourself. It's never, been a non-factor, but they're just figuring that out. Like you've been taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Like you've been taking care of yourself. These are all the things that they thought someone else maybe had a part in. Oh, I taught them how to do this, or I taught them how to do that. No, no, no. You can be an influence, but you can't be like the fluency. You know what I mean? Like you can teach someone how to speak Spanish, but it doesn't mean they'll become fluent. Even if you're fluent, it's that kind of energy. But these people were never fluent in anything. They were never fluent in anything. They had that facade. Oh, I'm married, but you're not in a happy marriage. You're not in a marriage where you trust this person and they trust you. There's a lot of control issues and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so the die is cast and they already see that. They already see that like everything's already turned in your favor. That's why it's popping up over here like this, get out of the comfort zone and this evidence energy. And the reason why they continue to abuse their power and can't like get right is what I'm understanding is because they find so much comfort in feeling bad about their past. Like that was their badge of honor. There was notes that I sent. It's that by proxy. Yeah, I wasn't ready to go through the notes and do notes today. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the notes because I didn't bring my laptop in here. So, but that's the reality of it at this point. Let's see, maybe I can find them in Yahoo. I'm understanding too, like it's like what they signed up for isn't what they're getting, but it's like, what did you sign up? What did you really sign up for? Were you signing up for something that you could do? Were you signing up for something that you were required and could do? Or were you signing up for something to go against what someone else was doing? There's a huge difference. You were never in a creative mode. You were in a, jump on the bandwagon kind of like, I don't know. Okay, I'm not finding the email right now. So, ooh, these people are maybe losing a lot of material elements now too, because that's where their focus has been. So the people that said, well, I have a this and I have a that and I got this bag and I got that and da 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 da, and I've been having this since before I got put on and da 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 da. It's like, okay, but what does that mean? What does that mean about you that you can buy a bag? Okay, anyone with the money can buy a bag. I mean, explain to me why you're so special because you've obtained this material element. That's the thing that I'm seeing here. My material nature is made up of 8 separate energies: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that's the false ego of it, is like being stuck in a material elemental mindset where they're not focused on the things of nature. This back to basics, like what do you put in your body though? I get what you're wearing, but what do you do for like the inside and and the outside? So maybe that's where people are going to be most hit with things from the higher realm. And so this higher realm card is saying, from the highest sphere in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery where birth and death take place. But whoever joins me in my abode is never born again. Wow. So it's almost kind of like whoever actually takes the right road, they're not going to be in that like topsy-turvy where they're holding on to any false egos or a false ego of themselves or a sense of whatever. Like their value is never going to have to come from material things, but they will always have them. They will never have to be in that cycle of, oh, you're getting struck down. So that's what I'm understanding for the collective. Like there's the spiritual battle is over, right? You're in your comfort zone. These people are going through they're having their own dark night of the soul, needing to hug a tree, needing to understand their inner child. So so I see this inner child, and this inner child is a grown-up and they're at work. What's happening right now with these people is they are going through their dark night of soul. So they're starting to remember who they are, right? To the core of it. But at the same time, they're being faced with this adversity. So it's like, people are going to be losing jobs and, find that they can't be at work, all the things that were already experienced when you went through your ascension and your, forward movement, the place where they thought that you were destroyed, but really you were being discovered. Right. But anyway, so those people are also having some, I don't know, this infamy card just came out. Right. So it's, if you abandon your duty. So it's like many are called, but the chosen are few. The ones that actually can continue forward and walk the walk and proceed, it's few, right? So if you abandon your duty, all will speak endlessly of your shameful deed. I told you, that's this person over here. They don't want to admit that they're not well. And it's like, but you're not well. and for one who has been honored, right? Those who were first shall be last. And for the one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Right? Not in the way that they thought. What happened? Did my live stop for some reason? I'll have to go back and see what was happening there. All right, calm meditation. This is also like the understanding, like people start to reflect on what they're doing with their lives just by being in your presence, by you speaking about the things that you're doing, and you're not doing it to brag or be boastful or to, make someone feel lower. You're just doing it just to share and be communicative about who you are. And people take offense to that because they see what they're not. Oh, anyway, because you know everything, right? Let's call meditation. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver. So as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the yogi whose mind is focused remains always steady in meditation on the transcendent self. So you did not allow whatever waves and whatever, movements came from other people towards you, etc., etc. You didn't allow that to change your focus, is what I said, right? You were always focused on remaining true to who you were. You're not trying to reinvent yourself because there's nothing about you that needs to change. It needs to be further exalted, right? It's not that you need to change, but you do. You get better and better every day, right? But anyway, they didn't understand it. They didn't get that. That as long as focus remains steady on your transcendent self, that's how you accomplish what you're supposed to. Again, on the transcendent self. It doesn't say the transcendence of other people. What somebody else is doing. What somebody else is. It's on you. The calm meditation doesn't come until you're focused on you and not other people. People can't bring peace in a relationship because they don't have it within themselves. Self-love, self-value, self-awareness, self-appreciation. I wonder why it's so important. So that's what people are being faced with. Like the fact that like they don't really know what all of those things are. They're being faced with the reality of having to figure that out. Like, okay, so now that you went in this infamy game and you've realized that that is not right. But again, some people won't change. But again, those are the people who, and for the one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. So if these people have been praised for being this or that in the community and their image and this and that and the other, there's certain taintings of images that people will allow. Let's just put in old girl that did Playboy recently. She felt like it was a real height of success because, you brought, Playboy out of retirement. What? Why not create something that's like not on that level and bring that to yourself? Like it made no sense to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I could never feel good about presenting an image that is not supposed to be portrayed in like public. You know what I mean? It's not something that you share with everybody. It's different if you became a Kim Kardashian and it was going to go out with or without you being on board, right? But to those who feel like, oh, well, I'm going to expose myself, like, what? Okay. These people are still in this energy of wondering what if they could send their problems away today. But it doesn't happen until they actually be honest about who they are. It's like they want a message of like concern for them or care for them to come in, but they're realizing that you have to do whatever you have to do, whatever that is. I don't know. You know what I mean? Everybody's journey is different. I don't guide people. I illuminate things. And a lot of it won't happen for these people is because they're not really sorry about what they did. They're not really sorry about what they did, but that's also why you're in this energy of it's not the end, it's only the beginning. Like they're in an ending. They're realizing that they don't have a place, purpose. You don't have thoughts about them, like whatever this energy is. They're in that place of like not understanding that like for them it looks like the end, but for you it actually is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. For them, it's just the beginning of this like pressure cooker energy, being upset and going through their own emotions about whatever they're going to remember from their past, right? And the goal is for them to try to remain in this energy of feeling like they're lucky, regardless of whatever their circumstances are. That's the only way to kind of get back to the inner child and heal it and give it everything that it wants. But, it takes a lot of work to get there. It takes a lot of work to heal generational curses and stuff like that. Yep. These people remaining in this, I'm not sorry about what I've done, that also does. Every day that you stay in the wrong direction takes you further from the right direction. If you walk to the left and you should be going to the right, you have to backtrack through everything that you did to the left in order to get back to the position that you need to be in on the right. And it's a far walk for these people. They went so far left in every part of everything though. Like their whole like thinking, because again, they think that you're just now approaching this understanding of whatever their understanding, and it's like, but I've already been through my stuff. Yeah. They don't get it too. They don't get it. They really don't. Um, they don't, again, they don't regret anything that they've done, and you don't regret it either. You don't live in a life of regret. So maybe that's an energy that they're actually biting down on, by saying, I'm not sorry about what I did. I don't regret what I did. But it's like, you don't regret anything that they did either. You don't care. It does not change who you are. It it wouldn't have changed. It could have been somebody else on the planet. You could have been born to a whole different family, and it been a whole different family that did you wrong. So that's what they're not understanding, is like that they feel like you place some presence on them and the experience that you had in your life with them. But if you had experiences with them, you can have experiences with other people. I don't know if they knew that. Like, you've already shown yourself to be resilient, right? That's why you're in a resplendent moment. You went through the refinement and the polishing, right? All of these things. They don't get it. They think they're so smart, but they don't get it. But as they're sitting in these different jobs, this new job that they're so excited about, but I'm so smart. I'm so, then it's going to also turn into, they're going to start to speak about you again. Like I said, some people just can't keep, from talking about you. Somebody's going to bite their tongue. Somebody's going to lose their teeth. I already heard that. But people are going to start to notice amongst themselves that, like, as soon as you start speaking about this person, shit starts to fly. But yeah, because you're in the wrong position. You shouldn't even be thinking about the collective. You shouldn't even be speaking about the collective. The collective doesn't have anything to do with you. This is you and your person sitting at your house and what y'all doing, and y'all talking about the collective. Don't know even nothing about y'all. Some of these people, it's like, it's onlookers. It's people that heard about you. It's like, really? You need to get a life. Yeah. Maybe that's something that they do to kind of keep people blind to, like, how relaxed and how, like, in your moment you are, like how happy you really are right now, how focused on your promise that you really have, and then this alliance. They're blind to all of that. Again, it's this pride energy that's here. Look at the tree hugging the tree at 78 years old. Just fine. I wondered about my landlord too, that I used to have, because it was like he would so much stuff, and like his house was like a hoarder house, but he'd be taking these trucks down to, these big trucks down to Mexico and bring things to people who were less fortunate. And I always kept saying, like, wow, he's so committed to this. But it feels like at a certain point I stepped back and I was like, why is he so committed to this? Is it actually his just heart's desire, or is this something that he feels compelled to do, especially at this age? You don't know who's healed from their own. Ooh, that was coming out here too. Somebody was using the fact that they're like passing, that they're on the lighter skin side. So they use that to like play the race card. But that was one of the things I thought of. I was like, wonder if he was really mean and nasty to, a bunch of people previously, and he healed that racist part of himself. And then he felt compelled to just completely honor them and completely, give to every one of their causes, and, to no end, because it's not like this man had money and he was using it all to do all of this stuff elsewhere. And sometimes it's just, someone's dreams coming true, right? But remember, the reality of the matter is, like, the dreams don't come true until they realize who they are, what their real dreams are, and they cannot be to go against someone else's free will or to be diminishing upon another. What is this about? Yeah, it was no accident. Ooh-wee. This is too funny. There's no accident that you're daydreaming about this adventure, that that you're in this energy, like it's already mine. You know what I mean? And that you're relaxed while they're confused. Like, it's no accident. This is no accident. It's no accident at all. That's what you also know. Maybe there's in this feeling of like, oh, it was an accident. We shouldn't have done this, and we shouldn't have isolated them, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's almost like they're in this energy of like, if they could take back, if they could take back what they did, trying to stop your reservations, if they could take it back. It's like, no, you can't do it. Remember, y'all don't regret it. They could never be you. It would never be you. Oh, the collective is hurting and in pain too. The collective don't give a no. The collective just okay, this is what came out. The collective just really wants this collaboration energy to stop what they're doing because it doesn't scare them. Like it doesn't put them in this frightful, fearful energy because they already know that they're on schedule for what they're supposed to be doing, right? Which they know too. That's why they're the ones in this like anxious, frightful energy. That's why they keep trying to do something. If they weren't fearful of it, then they wouldn't be trying to stop it, right? So they're also kind of curious, I guess, about like who you're collaborating with. How are you receiving good news? What is the good news? Blah, 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 blah. They need to stop. Like what keeps coming out here is that they need to stop being stubborn, okay, about what your fate is, right? Because that prideful energy is what's going to bring them the luck that they so deserve, right? Oh, it's just your luck that I get stuck, on the side of the road, like these natural disasters and curse. It's pretty much, I mean, their pride. Again, this person's not hugging that tree until they're 78. So it's like you can go down with all of this natural disaster and this pride and stubbornness in your life, your luck will be that. Your luck will be just that. Natural disasters and curses. Because you refuse to stop. You refuse to stop. You refuse to accept someone else's fate. And you're continuing to be prideful. It's like it's such nasty energy. It's like, how do they live with themselves each and every day? I guess that's the problem. They're not. They're totally focused on the collective. So they don't even see who they are, nor will they want to. Again, that's already come out so many times. Ooh, wow. Oh my gosh. Do y'all see what just came out? Even the devil is telling them that this is the truth. Whatever they worship, whatever demon lives in within them, even the devil is telling them like, this is the truth. You need to stop. They don't, whoever they worship, whatever they thought that they were sending towards you, everything that they in their existence is telling them they need to stop. That is so crazy. Wow. Stop. Stop. It hasn't been presented in any other fashion. That devil been coming out so funny style lately in these readings. It's almost like whatever they're trying to like work with against you, whatever demonic entities or whatever, they know the truth already. So that's also the reason why it's like, just stop. This is wicked. This is so wicked. Yeah. Yep. There's this it's a false empress energy. It's an empress in a reverse energy. This person just doesn't want to admit like who is actually. A lot of it has to do with because they're jealous of your looks. So that may be a huge part of it too. It's like they don't like that you look a certain way, you talk a certain way, you present yourself a certain way. And it's like if you just worried about yourself, maybe that's where maybe if you started to put that care and concern into yourself for what you ain't, then maybe it would exude something beautiful on the outside. Maybe you wouldn't be an empress in a reverse if you was actually focused on yourself. The only way an empress ends up in the reverse is because they're not focused on sitting in their seat. They're not focused on their dominion. They're not in that resplendent energy overlooking what they've created. Because whatever they've created is a disaster, right? An empress in the reverse can't create anything but chaos and disruption. Yep. Again, they need to move on from it. It's like maybe that energy is even slowly creeping in. Like you need to move on from this. You need to move on because this person already has. There's no gift that can be given. There's no like reintroduction of no. This is so sad. This is so sad that these people have been stuck thinking this for so long. Listen, the Sun card is like the truth has been illuminated already. I can't say it any other way. The devil already know the truth. This Empress in reverse, whomever these individuals are, because even if they're masculine energies, they don't hold an energy of a masculine. They hold the energy of a feminine energy because they're being bossed around by their wives. They don't have balanced relationships. They have 3 of cups. They don't have 2 of cups. They have 3 of cups. They're always constantly in an energy of working with someone else, and it's never really been their own balance. It's never been their own security. They've been working again. Whenever you got somebody else as the focus of what you're doing, it's not going to be good. It's just like saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna invent a new candy bar so I can be better than Twix." You're gonna go down looking like a fool in front of Twix, man. You have to come up with your own ideas. This is so weird. Yeah, these people want you to help them because they know that you're where all of that energy stemmed from. You are where all of the good, prosperous energy stemmed from. Not having you connected to them is why they're receiving that information. Like, it's how they're understanding that. And it's unfortunate for them because now they're in the mindset, oh, is there a way to find, will they ever forgive us? They've forgotten you. They've forgotten you. So even if they represent themselves to you and they think it's in a new energy, no. The reason why that doesn't work is because they know better than to take a false energy. These people literally have to go through the whole dark side of the soul, the whole entire process of healing, and then even determine if they would even want to be in your face, because by then their whole lives have changed, right? What they valued before becomes something that they don't value now, right? And again, that's why they have to go through that process. That's why they have to, oh my goodness, so many cards. Yeah, that's why they have to go through this process of not having these like happy celebrations, not being able to think straight, not understanding or knowing like where the heartache is stemming from, why they're, in the situations that they are, maybe possibly with their relationships, like I said earlier. And it's almost kind of like, why isn't, they're almost wondering like, well, why isn't this a focus? Why isn't my person focused on me? Like, they're going to start going through that energy and they're going to realize it's because they made the focus something else. They made this illusion. That's why your person has no problem, moving on. It's like, yeah, seeing that this is not, the relationship is not really a possibility. It's not really a real relationship that they would want to be in. Somebody's about to be broken up with for real, for real. Wow. Because a lot of these people, either they were in situations, some people were in situations where it's like they only wanted them to be in the relationship with them for the money. It was like, yeah, I'll sit around and wait for the wedding ring, for the this, for the that. Or yeah, I'll continue to play the game and keep this person confused and not sure about what they want to do. Look, but then the King of Wands, it's like there's a certain attraction here that because these people are so unattractive, you know what I mean? Because they are so unattractive to you, it kind of almost forces like their behavior, the way they live their lives, how they talk, what they think is important. It's like, it's so unattractive to you. It's so unattractive. You can't help but not be interested. I'm understanding, like, again, people have to think about it. When you become who you're supposed to be, will you even want the same person that you were bothered with before? The collective doesn't. So the same is going to be for these people. They'll realize, okay, letting go of the collective is okay. That's really what scares them the most. Not being able to have you to help them work through this dark night of the soul that they're going through. Them and any of the Three of Cups that they engaged with. They're all confused right now and stuck, meaning they have to pause to this. They have to pause and surrender to this, not the collective being who the collective is. The collective just is who they is. It is what it is. There's nothing that they can do about that. They have to face their own selves. That's so sad. These people put themselves in this situation. That's really unfortunate for them. It really is. They're going to be reaching back for all kinds of stuff. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you find them trying to snoop or they accidentally hit a like on something because they was trying to find out what you was thinking in that moment so they can work themselves through their own moment. Yep, look, the awakening card came right on out. They're mad that they're being forced to awaken. Like, what the hell? Everybody is. The collective just was on board. The collective was ready to go and passionate about it when everybody else wasn't. That's just the reality of it. Like, you decided not to go when you were called. Okay, now you're being dragged. you were called, right? It could have been more quiet. It could have been a more, not obvious, it could have been a more intimate change for them if they didn't try to make your changes so public. If they didn't try to, if it wasn't this lustful energy about around you and your awakening and what you were doing. If they had just kept it light and just been good with you, right? They probably would have stood a chance to learn and, be given some type of patience. But now they just have to do it alone. They just have to do it alone. It's just the reality of it. Yep, and keep their faith and balance and joy in the process. They saw you do it. If they felt like I would never, well, I guess you're just not. I don't know. It's like these side-handed comments, backhanded comments, like I would never let nobody wants to use you for anything. Nobody can use you for anything. You're not valuable. No one can create anything with you. That's why you could never, I would never let nobody do me. Nobody wants to do you. Oh, yeah. These people are really weird, very confused about themselves, what they want in life. It's that dreaming. Ooh, wow. It's like this, they're dreaming, but all of their dreams are burdened with a lot of guilt, right? About, what their real purpose was. Okay. And all this anger that they literally, surrendered surrendered to being an angry person, right? When they should have been letting go, but they didn't. So they need to learn how to be content in whatever they created for themselves. If you were a part of this pack, okay, well, belong to your pack and understand that it's time for you to express your vulnerability. Maybe they're going to have to show off their strength. What does that mean? What does showing off your strength mean? You're going to have to get it out of the mud one way, some way, somehow. You're going to have to get it out of the mud. Especially because they've been met with this clarity about losing you. And that you don't care. I think that's the huge part of it about, like, how come you're supposed to care about? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, other people are supposed to care about what I've done. Other people are supposed to care about my excellence. Other people are supposed to bow down to me. That's what they don't like. That's what they don't like. But that's also what stifles their creativity too. That's what keeps them from being in their own correct energy and having the clarity that they need. It's literally like it's right under your nose, but they don't want to, acknowledge that. They're too focused on this loss and trying to create that energy around you. Yeah, they're too busy being arrogant. It's almost like that Empress in reverse getting knocked off the pedestal because it's like you don't belong there. Like that's your imagination, boo-boo. You need to accept that. You're just being arrogant to think that you belong in a place where you don't have anything to do with the place. You don't have the integrity is what it's saying. You don't have the integrity. That's something that they need to accept. All right. I'm done with telling these people about themselves. They know who they are. I think maybe not, because they think they something. And I'm not saying they ain't nothing, but it's like when you're not focused on anything other than going after someone else, then you are nothing because you haven't focused on yourself. You're saying you're not even good enough for you to put your own focus into. I'm not good enough to even focus on myself. So much so that I would rather just sit over here and remember how I would never be this other person. Ooh, they are cursed. These people are cursed. All these old people from your past, they are cursed. Yep. You have no responsibility to be nice to them or anything like that. This is this is what they put into play for themselves. The consummation. This is their success. This is their end. Wow. Wow. Expect that while you're in this process of creating your new routine or something like that, that someone may come in try to negotiate, whatever the situation is that they're bringing to you. But the fact that you're already in that process of creating routine and decluttering, whether it be your schedule or your place of residence, etc. That's not going to, basically it's not going to work. You know, they're going to be pressured because they're in like pressured to kind of see the beauty about their situation over the next 30 days. I mean, the fire is high is what I'm seeing here. Like they're going to be pressured with having to find the beauty in their own circumstances, in their own situations, this acceptance. Why? You know, they're going to have to figure out why. Maybe what they're asking, why is this happening? Why are they doing this? Blah, 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 blah. The collective was just born to stand out and not be, you know, like everybody else. You know, maybe these people need to start planning for their future. Like what, looking at that. But again, they are in this energy of like, they couldn't even imagine. So if you can imagine how hard it was for you to be going through the experiences that you were at the same time trying to heal yourself, and then at the same time trying to plan for that healed new person, like what will you need to do when you're not here? It's going to be, you know, a lot for these people, just like it was a lot for you. That is the only like significance, is that they're mirroring your past, right? They're mirroring all of this old stuff, right? And they maybe need to be in that position right now. You know, maybe they need to be focused a little bit on what you did in order to accept where they are and get the guidance that they need to be getting on their purpose. But again, they fear this loneliness. They feel this boredom. They feel all this guilt and stuff for being arrogant and whatever, right? And now they want you to know, like, I see you, I hear you, like, I understand what you're about, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now that you surrender to that, let it go, because the collective does not care. And that's maybe when they get more angry, is because like, oh, well, you're not accepting that I'm apologetic and now I learned my lesson and I'm trying to communicate this to you. No, you need to go find that in solitude. Bring your own peace into your own place, right? Trust that you know where you're going to be. Hold yourself accountable. That's how you have success. Don't forget those boundaries. Get in your sleep. Eating your ice cream. I don't know. This is so sad for these people. Like all right. I hope that this has been helpful, insightful in some way, shape, or form. At the end of the day, you know who you are, so it's not a big deal to you, collective. Yeah, then my notes here say, if you were misled or competing with the truth, you know, spreading a lie, spreading a false narrative, you could not be a part of the truth if you were not, like I said, even conjoined twins have their own mindset, thoughts. So, and you, none of these people are your conjoined twin, right? Okay, very good. So if they were misled or competing with you or your truth about yourself, okay, those are the only fools that really exist. Like the actual fools, the people that should feel bad, like not for like, we don't care about them feeling bad for what they've done, but they should be feeling bad about who they are. It's like, I would never let somebody, it's like, you could never be somebody that someone would even want. They don't even see that part about, I could never. We know that. We know you could never. We absolutely positively know that you could never. That's why you didn't. That's why you ain't. That's why you can't. That's why you lost. Like, it's just that over and over and over again. So maybe more people are seeing this, understanding like, no, collective's not, like, don't get yourself confused to think the collective has any type of feelings toward this circumstance. They've already healed from this stuff. These people are just now realizing it because they've just now opened up themselves to examining whether or not, you know, they would be able to. So stupid. All right, I hope that this has been helpful in some way, shape, or form. Catch you on the next leader.